here, let's go ahead and review Module 9 Reading Assessment. We'll read the story and read the poem along with the questions and talk about the correct answers. Let's go ahead and begin. So here's our first story, Hansel and Gretel 2. One day we were hiking in the forest. Hansel, look, that little house over there has shiny red and yellow candy all over it, said Gretel. Yum, I'm hungry. I'm hungry too. Let's take a nibble, I said. Just then out jumped a little chicken. So here's the little chicken, Hansel and Gretel. Don't eat that. It's not good for your teeth, the little chicken yelled. We decided that this funny chicken was just trying to help us and so must be nice. Do you want to come to our house to play? I asked the little chicken. Is it made of candy? She asked with a grin. And we all hiked off together. So that's Hansel and Gretel 2. Okay, let's talk about the questions now. Number 1, when was the story taking place? So this is a setting question. When. Remember, setting is when and where. So number 1, when was the story taking place? A, daytime, B, nighttime, or C, January. So when was the story taking place? Daytime, nighttime, or January? Well, let's look at the pictures. So it looks like daytime. Well, what are our choices? Daytime, nighttime, and January, right? So it looks like daytime. Doesn't look like nighttime. January, it doesn't say anywhere that it's January, right? So I don't know where January would come. Plus, January is a season in winter, so it's usually looks a little bit colder, and like the trees are more bare. Doesn't look like the trees are bare, but I do notice that it is daytime, okay? So our correct answer is going to be daytime. So when was the story taking place? Daytime. We can know this because of the pictures. You really have to also pay attention to the pictures. Number 2, what type of story is Hansel and Gretel 2? A, fiction, or B, nonfiction? So you need to understand what fiction and nonfiction is. We just went over fiction last week. So fiction is the story is made up. It's fake. It's not real. Nonfiction is you're going to have real information and facts, okay? So we have a talking chicken in a house made out of candy. Do you think the story is real or not real? This story is not real. What is not real? Fiction. Fiction is fake. So what type of story is Hansel and Gretel? It is fiction. It is made up because we have a talking chicken. We have a house made out of candy. It is fake. Okay? Number 3. What happened at the end of the story? So I'm going to read the choices and we'll talk about it and go back to the story. A, the chicken ate candy. Think to yourself, did that happen? B, Hansel and Gretel invited the chicken to their home. C, the kids were playing in the forest. So think about it. What happened at the end of the story? The chicken ate candy? Hansel and Gretel invited the chicken to their home? Or C, the kids were playing in the forest? Let's go back. Let's read this one more time. Don't eat that. It's not good for your teeth, the little chicken yelled. We decided that this funny chicken was just trying to help us and must be nice. Do you want to come to our house to play? I asked the little chicken. Is it made of candy? She asked with a grin, and we all hiked off together. Does it say, how does the story end? Does it say the chicken is eating candy? No. Does it say the kids are playing in the forest? Does it talk about them being in a forest? Right here in the ending? No. Do you want to come to our house to play? I asked the little chicken. That is one of the kids talking to the little chicken. So they invite the chicken back to their house to play. So let's see what the answer is. Hansel and Gretel invited the chicken to their home. That's the correct answer because they did invite the chicken back to their home. Number 4, who was not a character in this story? Hansel, Gretel, chicken, or Mr. Frog? I remember the story talking about Hansel and Gretel and chicken, but I do not ever remember reading about a character named Mr. Frog. Do you? No. So Mr. Frog is not a character in the story. Make sure you listen, and it's even underlined. Who was not a character in this story? Mr. Frog. We never talked about a character being named Mr. Frog. We do have Chicken, Gretel, and Hansel. The title's even called Hansel and Gretel. So, D, Mr. Frog is not a character. Number 5, where was part of this story taking place? So remember, this is setting, where and when. We already did when, daytime. Now this is where. Where was part of the story taking place? By a lake, in the forest, on a mountain. By a lake, in the forest, on a mountain. So I don't see any lakes in these pictures, and it doesn't look like they're on a mountain. It doesn't even say lake or mountain in the story, does it? No. Let's read one more time. Listen. One day we were hiking in the forest. Hansel, look, that little house over there has shiny red and yellow candy all over it, said Gretel. Yum, I'm hungry. I'm hungry too. Let's take a nibble, I said. Just then, out jumped a little chicken. Don't eat that, it's not good for your teeth, the little chicken yelled. We decided that this funny chicken was just trying to help us and be nice. Do you want to come to our house to play? I asked the little chicken. Is it made of candy? She asked with a grin, and we all hiked off together. Did I read anything about a mountain? A lake? A forest? First sentence. One day we were hiking in a forest, so you really need to be listening to every word that I'm reading, because in the first sentence it says we were hiking in the forest. So where were they? B, in the forest. All right, now it's time for this little poem. Apple trees and honeybees. I love apple trees, they are sweet to eat. I love honeybees, their honey is a sweet treat. I love apple trees, apples are an amazing fruit. I love honeybees, bees buzz and bumble. I love apple trees, I love honeybees. So that's a little poem, cute little funny poem. Number 6, what were the rhyming words in this poem? So to answer this question, you need to know what rhyming words are. Rhyming words are what? Words that end in the same sound, like cat and mat. They both end in the at sound. So here's our choices. A, trees, bees. B, apple, honey. C, fruit, sweet. Does trees, bees end in the same sound? Ease, right here. Highlight it, actually. Here, red. They both end in the ease sound. Apple, honey, do those end in the same sound? No. Fruit, sweet. Fruit, sweet. Do they end with the same sound? So what is our correct answer going to be? A, trees, bees. They both end with the ease sound. Remember, rhyming words are words that end in the same sound. Number 7, which line/sentence was repeated in the poem? Repeat is it's a line that's said over and over and over again, at least more than once. Bees buzz and bumble. I love apple trees. Apples are an amazing fruit. Let's see. Let's see about that first one. Bees buzz and bumble. Let's see how many times we see that. I only see that line once. I love apple trees. Let's see how many times we see that. We'll put that one in red. I love apple trees. oh, here it is again. I love apple trees. So far, this was repeated twice. I love apple trees is repeated 3 times. So that was choice B. So that one's a good one. Bees, buzz, and bumble was only said once. I love apple trees was said 3 times. Apples are an amazing fruit. Let's see how many times we see that in this poem. It's only said once. So A, bees, buzz, and bumble was said once. B, I love apple trees was repeated 3 times. C, apples are an amazing fruit. Which line / sentence was repeated in this poem? A doesn't work because it was said once. C doesn't work because it was said once. But B, I love apple trees was repeated 3 times. B, I love apple trees was repeated 3 times, so that would be our best choice. All right, let's go to number 8. What words rhyme with eat? Remember, words that rhyme have the same ending sound, so we're looking for a word that rhymes with eat. A, treat, eat, treat. Those rhyme. B, honey, eat, honey. Do they end in the same sound? Eat, apple. Do those end in the same sound? No. So our correct answer is going to be A, because they both have the eat sound. Eat, treat. They both end in eat. So number 8 is A. Number 9. The sentence below is an example of which element of poetry? Bees, buzz, and bumble. So in order to answer this question, you need to understand what alliteration, rhyme, and repetition is. So alliteration is what? All right, let's go over alliteration. Alliteration is words near each other that start with the same sound or sounds. The example we've been practicing with is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. What sound do we hear? P. The P sound. That's alliteration. Okay, rhyme. Rhyme is words end with the same sound or sounds. For example, rain, train, crane all end in the ain sound. Repetition. Words or lines that are said over and over and over and over again. Okay, so let's see. Alliteration. We have words near each other that start with the same sound or sounds. Bees, buzz, and bumble. Okay, I'm noticing really quickly, I want to point this out, that these words all start with a B, which is the B sound. Okay, so that could be, this is an example of alliteration. Let's see, do any of the words rhyme? Bees, buzz. Does that rhyme? Bees, buzz, and bumble. Does any of this rhyme? Do any of these words end with the same sound? So that's not a good example. I mean, that's not a good choice. Repetition. Bees, buzz, and bumble. Do any of these words repeat? No. Okay, but do these words start with the same sound and letter? They do. Bees, buzz, and bumble. They all start with the letter B, right? So this is a good example of alliteration. So our answer is A. This sentence, the sentence below, bees, buzz, and bumble, is an example of alliteration. Words near each other that start with the same sound or sounds. Number 10, which letter is being represented in this alliteration sentence? Same sentence from earlier. What letter are we noticing that each word is starting with? Is it letter R, letter B, or letter M? It is letter B. Oops, wrong color. Which letter is being repeated in this alliteration sentence? It's the letter B. When we talk about alliteration, it's always the first letter or sound of a word, not the middle letters or the end letters, always the first letter of each word. So that's why we're focusing on the first letter. All right, that's the end of our review. If you need to hear any of the questions again, just go ahead and go back in the video, and I hope you enjoyed this little review.